Midweek Prem has taken years off of my life, but in life, you have to get back up. You got to push through it. Welcome back to the Plus Money Podcast, your home for the best soccer bets in 15 minutes or less. Another monster weekend. It's our first weekend without American football. So I don't need an excuse, but I'll be betting all 10 EPL games this weekend. We've got our favorite contributor to the podcast, Mr. Nick Dianni, at Nick Dianni of Kicks Picks Pod, at Kicks Picks Pod. Welcome back. I love the Zenit kit. Nice. That is a very nice design. Glad to have you back on the podcast. How are you doing, brother?
Appreciate it, brother. Happy New Year. Thank you for having me back. You guys have been on a roll to start the year. Love to see it. And I figured two Liverpool kits would be a little overkill, so decided to switch it up.
I don't know. It's a big game, big weekend. I feel bad for Moises Caicedo. He could have been playing with Connor Bradley. I don't know what he was thinking, but
I think it worked out well for you guys.
Alexis McAllister, pretty good as a six. A lot of people said he wasn't. All right, let's start with the banter. Let's get into it. Everton taking on Tottenham, 7:30, Saturday morning. I feel like this is going to be a fun one. Spurs money line is plus 145. Everton haven't beaten Spurs in the Premier League since September 2020. That is a good enough number for me to take Tottenham straight up. Although Everton, just every time I try to bet an Everton game, something happens. They are officially in the relegation zone, which means my future. It's back on the table. What do you like from this one?
So I'm going to say something I never thought I would say, and that's
Oh God.
Everton games are entertaining. Like, they've been fun as hell to watch all year. I mean, this 10-point deduction has maybe even made it better. I was on both teams to score against Fulham with Everton. I think Ani was on that as well. I think he was on the over. It was one of those games where there's 1,000,001 chances and no goals, and it's just really soured me on Everton. They can't score. They can do a lot of things right. They kept a clean sheet. I guess, that was good for them, but they're in a downward spiral right now, right? They're winless in their last 5, 6, 7 games.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think Tottenham money line is the play. I'm going to go a little bit safer. I like Tottenham draw no bet. This line is all over the place. I locked it in at minus 130. I think that's about where you could hope to get it. I've seen it as high as minus 145 in some places, but like you said, weird things happen when we bet Everton. So I'm going to take a little bit of the protection there. I would not be mad at anybody for taking money line. I think it's a great number on Tottenham. Tottenham at plus money is not going to happen all that often going forward, but give me a little bit of that protection with the draw no bet.
Richarlison playing against his old club. Maybe throw him in your goal scorer parlay.
Revenge
My man
game,
has been hot. He's not my man. I do want to recant that immediately. You could have the ugliest players in Europe parlay if you parlay him and Vlahovic to score this weekend. I have no idea what that's coming in at, but I'm just saying it's an option. Newcastle taking on Luton. Luton finding some nice form out of the relegation zone. Absolutely monster win in the midweek. I do kind of like that. I circled both teams scoring over 2.5 at minus 110. Luton have scored in their last 4, and that's hitting both teams scoring over 2.5 is hitting 3 out of the last 5 for both teams, but that's why I kind of lean Newcastle and both teams to score plus 165 at home. Newcastle got a good result in the middle of the week. I kind of feel like they'll have that St. James's Park, that magic cooking at home. Get the win. I see this as a 2-1, maybe a 3-1. But if you don't lean Newcastle, or maybe you think there's a high scoring draw, both teams to score over 2.5 is playable at minus 110 for me. It should be. I don't know. I'm thinking Luton can survive right now, and I know there's potential more things that could happen, but it's gonna be a
No, I'm so with you. I think you hit the nail on the head, and this is one of those examples. I think with both teams, the home and away is super important in this particular fixture, right? Luton's been kind of a force at home. I think Newcastle's been kind of a force at home. I'm with you. I mean, those numbers are staggering. I think there's goals in this one. I think I kind of have this as a 2-1 game. Luton plus 1.5 goals. I don't hate it. I'm not going to that's not my bet. I'm not going to give it out, but I really want to bet it. Vibes are high for that bet. It's at minus 140. I do think they could keep it close, but I can't pull the trigger just yet.
All right, let's jump to Brighton taking on Palace. This is a rivalry game for some reason. It goes back to the 70s and some weird FA Cup run. They hate each other. I initially circled both teams to score and over 2.5, but then I looked that the under 2.5 is coming in the last 5 straight, but the over 3.5 is hitting both teams' last 2 games and 3 out of their last 5. I'm just going to stick with both teams to score. and over 8.5 corners, plus 137. Good old fashioned rivalry game, a 1-1. Brighton kind of stink right now, but I
Yeah.
can't in good conscience bet Crystal Palace, who also kind of stink right now. So, also screams draw to me, I will say.
Yeah. Palace is one of those teams. It's been a team for the past 2 or 3 years. Win, lose, draw, win, lose, draw, 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 win, loss, loss. You can't figure them out. They're not
Nope.
consistent. The only consistent thing about them is they're inconsistent. This has to be a get right spot for Brighton if they're seriously going to make an attempt to qualify for some sort of European competition next year. You could take them on the money line. It's really chalky. It's minus 140, but that's where I'd lean. I think it's a must-win game for them.
I
It's not the
totally agree.
greatest bet. I think there's certainly much more value to be found. But if I'm looking for a team just straight up needs to win, should win, this is the spot.
I'll tell you what, don't put them in your parlay in the midweek because they'll get roasted by
Never.
Luton 4-0. We're going to Burnley taking on Fulham. I initially wrote down Fulham money line through gritted teeth. And then I looked it up that Fulham haven't won against Burnley since August of 2018. It's it's 5 straight games, 4 losses and a draw in that run. And I decided that I'm not taking Burnley because you can't do that. Um, but I'm going to take the draw at plus 230. This screams 0-0 to
I like
me.
it. I like it.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
not
it.
going to
No,
be great.
so like rule of thumb, just checking out games. I think if you have a draw line that's like less than minus 250, that's telling you something. Like this is a prime spot for it. I'm with you. I went along those lines because I too cannot bet on Burnley. I like Fulham draw no bet. They're at minus 130. I think they generated a ton of offense the last couple of games. They haven't quite gotten the bounces they've needed. This could be a spot for them to do that. I don't see them losing. I think this is a worst case. You get your bet back, but draw is a good way to look at it as well.
All right, another game that I think is going to be gross, disgusting, and absolutely no one should watch. Sheffield United taking on Aston Villa. This is the 12:30 Saturday game.
Mm-hmm.
The last 5 head-to-head games have all been under 2.5. Aston Villa kind of stink right now. Not
Mm-hmm.
playing well. Not playing well. They're down to 5th place in the table. They're still comfortably top 5, which means they have an outside chance of making the Champions League because of whatever. Um, I'm on Sheffield on the drop plus 125. And I hate that. I hate that because I have a future on Sheffield to finish bottom, and they're only 2 points clear of the bottom right now. So any positive points for me is bad for me. But Sheffield, shockingly, were the first team to take any kind of point off of Aston Villa at
Mm-hmm.
home this season. Um, Newcastle just waxed Villa in the midweek at Villa Park, but this one's on the road for Aston Villa. We talked about it on the pod last week. Their road form is awful. So fade Aston Villa on the road. And two option. It's essentially Sheffield plus half a goal at plus 125. I'll take that. They scored a bunch of goals in the midweek. So I don't know. I think that's gonna be an awful game.
Yeah, this game, unfortunately, it's a pass for me. There's just
Yeah.
nothing I can find that I like. I want to agree with you. I think like again, another vibes game, big vibes weekend for me here in the Premier League. Um, but I can't bet on Villa in this current form, and Sheffield's in last place, dude. Like, how do you? I don't know. I can't bank on anything. I was looking for like a parlay piece. I was looking for cards, corners, just nothing I like in this game. Absolute pass.
Big time pinch my nose and do it because I'm bored this
Hey,
weekend. Bournemouth jumping to Sunday. Bournemouth taking on Nottingham Forest. Full disclosure, we are taping early Thursday morning. One of the few days that I don't get up just for God or Liverpool Football Club before 10 in the morning. But we're taking so we haven't watched Bournemouth play in the midweek. We haven't watched Man United or West Ham play in the midweek.
no,
But Bournemouth are taking on Nottingham Forest. I loved this number. I was shocked that I could get it there. Bournemouth and over 1.5 of the game at plus 100. Um, Bournemouth have been playing very good ball. Maybe not against your traditional top 6 clubs, but against more or less everybody else. They got off to a very slow start, and it figured things out. I don't know what the Dom Solanke number is for anytime goal scorer. If you can get him anytime, any above plus 175, that is
minus
abs.
120.
Okay, so they're not playable because he's plus 175 today, for some reason. But yeah, Solanke in great form, Bournemouth in
Mhm.
great form, Nottingham Forest all over the place. Maybe we get a Gio Reyna sighting because he'll be there a few more days. I just kind of see Bournemouth taking care of business here. Nottingham Forest. Um, I don't want to say they played badly against Arsenal, but Arsenal seem to have that. They seem to be humming again. I don't know.
Yeah. Um, little weird kind of cheeky one. Nicholas Dominguez to get a card plus 180. I think that's
Mhm.
solid if he's in the lineup. If he's starting, he might be suspended. I don't even really know. Um, I think I kind of like that. This is a spot where I think you could take a stab with the draw. Draws plus 330. That's a big number. Um, Forest has shown they can score goals. It's not a lock by any means, but to me, this is like the spot to take a stab this weekend.
Yeah, I don't hate that. All right. Man, okay. Chelsea taking on Wolves. I really, really, really want to bet Wolves after yesterday.
Same,
I really, really want
same.
to do it, but I am man enough to admit that Chelsea's home form has been better. They got absolutely embarrassed in the midweek. So I'm sticking with a basic one. Both teams to score and over 7.5 corners is at plus 105.
Ooh,
Um, Wolves have been in games.
I
Haven't
like it.
been exactly winning a lot of games, but they've been hanging around. 8 corners is not a ridiculous amount. Chelsea gave that up to Liverpool. Um, I really want to take Wolves. I will not be doing it, but that's my play.
So, as usual, at least 3 or 4 times on the show, we don't discuss it beforehand. We're on the same thing. Like my thought, I want Wolves plus one. It's minus 135. I want to take it so bad. I've really enjoyed Wolves this year. Their defense has gotten a lot worse, but their offense has gotten a lot better. So they've been an interesting team. They're what, neck and neck with Chelsea in the standings. It'd be cool to see them pull this one out. The bet I like for this game the most is Chelsea team total cards over 2.5. It is at plus 120. I think Wolves frustrate them enough for Chelsea to get 3 cards. They had 4 cards in the first half against
Yeah,
Liverpool.
yeah. I was
So,
gonna say very immature team.
that's just kind of who Chelsea is right now. So, I think that number's way too low for the cards and it's way too high for the odds. So, plus 120 over 2.5 cards. That's probably my favorite bet of the weekend.
I love that. Yeah, that's going right. That's going right in my book. Man United taking on West Ham once again. We have not seen these teams play yet. I this either is like a West Ham somehow win this game 2-0, or Man United grind out a 1-0 win. It's one or the other. Because of that, I'm not going to give you a winner. I'm going to give you a parlay over 8.5 corners. Both teams to score and 25 or more shots in the game plus 121. Be careful corner lines here. The numbers are crazy juiced. Both of these teams either tend to get a lot of corners or very little corners. Like I remember a West Ham game where I bet corners against Brighton. I was like, oh, there'll be a bunch of corners in the game. There were literally 2 quarters in the game. So be careful. Like I think in order to get corners at a plus number, you had to take over 11.5. And it was like plus 114. And I was like, that is not
Too
worth
many.
it. It's
Too
not,
many.
it's like when you get an over 3.5 at plus 100. It's like you might as well bet the 4.5 because at that point, that's the only way to get some value. So um I think both teams are plus are money line are on the plus side for money line, which is interesting, very
Yep.
interesting. Would love to see David Moyes do the business at Old Trafford, but I doubt we'll get it.
So one thing I want to say, you do exceptionally well with these like total shots in the game, like a parlay piece. I like, I don't know how. I can't seem to nail that down. You've got
Bot
the
mob,
formula. I
bot
love it.
mob.
Is that how they grade the bets? Like what are they using to grade that bet?
I have no idea, but my
That's just,
general,
I guess, you know what I
I
mean?
think
Because
so.
it's so
It
subjective. Like what's a shot, what's not.
it sucks because a blocked shot doesn't count as a shot, but it
Right.
counts as a blocked shot. So I'm like,
Right.
what the fuck is that? But I use FOTMob, and like the nice thing with FOTMob is that you can just like click on the last like five to like the
Sure.
last 5 games for both teams, and they just have game shots in like it's like pretty quick up there when you look at the stats.
Yeah.
Um, but
So that's just to me the frustrating part. Like it just general statement. Like take a look at your book. Take a look at the rules for that particular bet or any of these bets because I'm going to give out another card bet, and some books count a red card as 3, some only or 2, I guess, because if you're getting yellow and a red, some only count as 1, some count the manager, some only count players on the field. It's a whole thing. So just those shot like total shot numbers always kind of freaked me out. So I know you've had some good success with it, but I'm always scared because you don't know how the books grade it, what's gonna come through, what isn't. So that worries me a little bit. Just sorry, went off on a little bit of a tangent there.
No, you're fine.
Um, I like West Ham in this game. I like West Ham on the Asian spread, 0.75 goals. It's minus 120. If you're not familiar with the Asian spread, quarter ball, it's basically a split line between half a goal and one goal. So in this instance, obviously, if West Ham win or draw, you win your full bet. If United win by one goal, that's where that 0.75 comes into play. So you would get half your bet back. You would only lose half your stake. I think that's kind of the way to play this. I think it's a close game. I think, as you said at the jump, worst case scenario, United win by a goal. Um, I think that's a fair number. So I'll be rooting for West Ham. I'll be betting on West Ham. And I think this is a cards game also. Over 4.5 cards for the game, plus 105. Those are the two I like for this one.
Ooh,
Low
alrighty. All
number.
right.
Anytime I can get cards under 5.5, I kind of always am intrigued.
Let's jump to the big one. It's Arsenal taking on Liverpool. We saw these two teams clash earlier in the season. Lost my game of the year, devastating because the goals were there. But Liverpool went to Arsenal, won straight up in the FA Cup, rotated roster. Both teams humming right now. Arsenal
Yes.
cooked last weekend, got a nice, win at Nottingham Forest. Liverpool obviously dominant against Chelsea and a big win against Norwich over the weekend. And I'm sure the numbers come down overnight since I looked. But Liverpool
Sure
were,
has.
last I checked, plus 200 on the money line. They
Okay.
can't still be there. I'm gonna pull up FanDuel just
They
for
are. They are. Well, at least on DraftKings, they are. But they were like plus 250 or maybe even higher 2 days ago.
they're still plus 200,
Yeah.
which I know Arsenal have played very well at home, but Liverpool are clicking right now. Like
Yeah, man.
everybody's playing like Andy Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold were available for Liverpool last night, and they had the luxury of saying, "No, it's cool. We can play Joe Gomez at left back and Connor Bradley at right back and just cook Chelsea." I know Darwin Núñez didn't score, but frankly, it's almost more impressive that he hit 4 posts yesterday.
Yep.
Like I think that's harder. I love if you anytime you can get Darwin Núñez 2 shots on target, by the way, at a plus number, you take it because it will happen. Um, uh, but yeah, I'm gonna take Liverpool money line. Their draw no bet is plus 118, which is amazing odds. And I love the team total over 1.5 at plus 132. I think they'll score twice at Arsenal, no problem. I know Arsenal have kind of found form, but they haven't exactly played a top of the table club. And I don't know. I'm not Arsenal don't scare me. They're at that point of the year where we're on the other side of the hype roller coaster where they're
Yep.
coming down. Um, yeah, I mean, I could be talked into the 3.5. I could be, or probably more the over three. To be totally honest, but or the 275 on the Asian line if it was a nice number. I feel like I've probably taken everything that you like, but what intrigues you about Arsenal Liverpool?
Now, listen, strong philosophy. You get the league leaders at plus money, you take it. It doesn't matter where the game is, doesn't matter who they're playing. You just have to go with it. So I'm in full agreement. I think the goal scorer props for this game are super interesting. Everybody is plus 200 or better. So there's somebody you like. If you think like Nunez, for instance, could figure it out and get that shot a couple inches, inside, he's plus 240. I think, pick a player. I don't have one in particular, but could be one of those games where you get a lot of value on a goal scorer. I think Liverpool win. But I will go with the protection. I'm going to another Asian line, Liverpool plus a quarter of a goal. It's minus 125. And that is if Liverpool draw, you will win half your bet, push half your bet. So I think at worst, this is a draw. We'll take half a cash. We'll give up a little bit of juice, but anybody that wants to take Liverpool at plus 200, you absolutely should.
All right, Brentford taking on Manchester City Monday afternoon. A pretty easy one because he's been the man for Brentford since he came back. Ivan Toney, yeah, I could say anytime goal scorer because he's scored in every game. I'm not. I'm saying 2 shots on target because it's plus 300.
I like it.
That's not even goals. Like all Ederson has to
No.
do is catch the ball, catch it, on a shot counts as a shot on target. At plus 300, I know Man City have been dominant of teams, and I probably, they deserve some more shine. I'm not going to give it to them. But Ivan Toney's been all over the place. Another great goal scoring option. Yeah, if you're going to do a goal scorer parlay for the weekend, Vlahovic or Juve, no, Juve are playing Inter, so maybe don't do Vlahovic. The number is probably crazy. But although he did score in the last Derby d'Italia, if I remember
He did.
correctly.
He did.
So that's going to be a great matchup on Sunday, 2:45 Paramount Plus for those of you in the States. And yeah, like we said, Richarlison's always good. Dom Solanke is always good. Diogo Jota on really good form for Liverpool. Follow Nick at Nick Dianni. Follow Kicks and Picks, his podcast at Kicks Picks Pod. We will catch you guys next week. We're getting closer and closer to the Champions League being back, which
Hell
is
yeah.
exciting and stressful. I hold tickets for Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid right now, and I'm nervous. Follow us at Passaro at the Plus Money Pod. Let's stay positive. Have a good weekend, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Good luck.